Thank you. Thanks for joining, everybody. So we'll be talking about how AI can help in chest interpretations. And I was just going to ask if everybody would like to do a quick introduction in the panel.
My name is Julie Sufana. I'm Chief Marketing Officer at contextflow.
Hi, my name is Martijn Jonkers. I'm the VP Sales and Marketing at Avicenna.AI.
Alan Hunley, Global Director of Channel Partnerships, Riverain Technologies.
Awesome, thank you. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start with a question for you, Julie. Can you talk to us a little bit about how your solution helps with detection of lung nodules and monitoring changes over time?
Sure. So in general, as the marketing person, I have to say we detect, right, visualize, analyze, classify nodules, and the tool is designed for both incidental and lung cancer screening protocols. But specific to monitoring changes in nodules over time, that's exactly what our timeline feature does. And this is actually really challenging to do, so that's what I'd like to use the time today that you've graciously given to us to discuss. So first of all, you might imagine, hey, not every scan is exactly the same, not the same size, not the same thickness. So first we have to do a registration process for the images to make sure that all of the CT scans are kind of lined up, so to speak. And then that's really important because if we detect a nodule here, we want to make sure that that nodule is more or less here across all of the images, right? Then on top of that, we have to start to match nodules. And this is really important because we don't want to mismatch nodules over time and get different results. But it's very challenging because you might have patients with comorbidities. So we are actually specialists in interstitial lung disease detection, right? So nodules on top of already diseased lungs, it's a very challenging task to be able to perform. The lung is filled with very small structures that kind of, have implications when it comes to matching. And you might have clusters of nodules very close to each other. And especially if they're growing, they might get closer and closer together. So it's really hard to make sure that you are, again, consistently matching that same nodule over time. So after registration, we have matching. We have to do some disambiguation with our algorithms. And so then now, once that is all set up, we can actually do some cool stuff. So we can monitor, right, volume doubling time, the diameter, and shrinkage, things like this. And that's really important because the patients that we're working with, this is obviously something that's very time sensitive. If you notice something that's changing, you want to notice it very quickly. And it's also something where we want to make sure that we know that radiologists have limited time, and you could have a patient with a lot of nodules, but so normally you only focus on a few, but you could also have a micro nodule that you didn't focus on initially, and now it's growing, and we need to be able to alert you to that nodule as well. So that's, in a nutshell, kind of what we do for monitoring changes in nodules over time. I would be remiss also then if I didn't mention, right, because detection of nodules is one thing, but then determining whether they're malignant or not, that's another thing. So I really have to mention malignancy scoring from our partner RevealDX. So this is something that kind of indicates the likelihood as to whether or not a particular nodule is malignant or benign. And that's very important because obviously if it's benign, we want the patient to get to treatment as quickly as possible. But if it's malignant, you knew what I meant. It's been a long day. If the nodule is benign, then obviously we want to help avoid potentially some unnecessary procedures because right now that patient experience is pretty bad, right? You get told, yeah, you have some nodules, come back 3 months, 6 months, and in the meantime, you don't actually know whether you have cancer or not. So if we can kind of reduce that ambiguity for the person who's actually not a patient, that's very nice for their mental health, but also insurance companies are very excited about that because they can save resources when it comes to unnecessary biopsies and follow-up procedures. So just in the news, our big news for RSNA is that contextflow has been the first radiology AI company to receive a reimbursement code in Europe, starting in Germany. And so this is my German colleague for business development, if anyone has any specific questions about that. But we believe that this is going to enable AI technologies to really start to become adopted at scale. So we have we already have some other reimbursement projects underway in other European countries, and some other features also that will be building health economics models around to kind of replicate the same thing. So last but not least, as I mentioned, we work with the chest, so that means everything from lung cancer, interstitial lung disease, COPD. We just added incidental pulmonary embolism. So really, if you're working with any chest CTs, again, whether it's incidental or lung cancer screening, we would love to talk to you.
Awesome, thank you, and congratulations on the CPT or the reimbursement.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome. Martin, can you tell us how AI can help with study prioritization and support early intervention?
Absolutely. So thank you for the question, and thank you, Julie, for the great story, and congrats again for your.
And our IPE comes from our lovely partner, Avicenna.
We are so close. So, thanks again. Thanks again for the question, and thanks again also for sharing the question at least with me a little bit up front, so I'm prepared, and that's why I'm taking my notebook with me to make sure that I'm not missing any information that is important to mention to you. First of all, I think the AI has an immense potential actually in transforming radiology, particularly in prioritizing studies and enabling the early intervention. I think it's the most important thing about on this again. And in emergency and high pressure environments, which radiologists face very often, I think the fast decision making can actually mean the difference between life and death. So I think that addresses the importance actually of the prioritization of the studies, and this is also where the AI is shining, where it comes out to the best as an acting for 24/7 reliable assistant to the radiologist that can help him to all the details and all the have to look, and no one is ever overlooked. So, and at Avicenna we developed a comprehensive set of radiology solutions that actually addresses these two topics mainly. So, and when I'm starting on they're focusing on the prioritization actually of the studies. I think it's a typical radiology workflow where they face an overwhelming number of studies on a daily basis. I think that's a big challenge actually that we have been hearing quite a lot these days at the RSNA. But among them, there are also critical findings of critical exams in there that might end up in the queue. So, and that's why the AI-driven prioritization of the studies actually can help triaging these cases based on urgency. So, again, when it's needed, someone has to have a look on have a look on it. And as an example, the intracranial hemorrhage solutions we have developed is addressing this as perfectly as instead of the critical case is waiting in line behind let's say not needed addressed cases. It brings up in top of the work list of the radiologist, and that's the same for addresses the same issue for the detection of large vessel occlusions, where the stroke teams can immediately activate it within minutes actually, and not have to wait for an hour or even longer to get the teams into action. And that's not only for stroke or for neuro, but it is also relates to pulmonary embolism detection, aortic dissections, where it both actually are very time-sensitive issues where you have to address them as soon as possible to get the right people to the right images at the right time. So talking about early intervention, I think that's it's not only the prioritization of the studies, but also enabling the early intervention for the more accurate diagnosis, and that's the one actually I wrote down as well, because it brings you faster treatment decision. For pulmonary embolism detection, timely detection actually lead to immediate action of the therapy that prevents at least further complications. And that's of course the same for aortic dissection, where a hospital has now the opportunity to alarm the team to make sure that the mobilization actually of the surgical teams are becoming now proactively, and that saves a lot of time again. And when it's time to time savings, then it comes to patient care, of course, that the benefits of that. So, as one of my conclusions, as a closer actually on this, that the AI changes radiology by acting as a second set of eyes. That's not new. That's what we hear a lot, of course, during these days. But it makes ensure for both all that cases are the critical cases actually are prioritized, and life-saving interventions are initiated at least earlier than before. So with the solutions like the ones we have developed days and we have available on the Blackford platform, the radiologists are much better equipped actually to meet the demands of modern healthcare, where again every second counts. So I think the radiology, the future actually of radiology, is not just about the faster machines or the clearer images. It's more about the systems, the smarter systems that enhance the human experience, and that's actually where our tools actually brings to the value to the radiologists in this area. So, okay.
Thank you. That's great.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that. All right, Alan, can you talk to us about how your solution supports lung cancer screening programs?
Absolutely, and thank you, Mary, for the question. It's a pleasure joining the panel today. So Riverain Technologies, as we know, lung cancer screening both in the U.S. and now in a lot of is emerging in a lot of regions in Europe as well. So I'll touch on the primary components that impact us here in the United States, but also abroad as programs are formalized in countries like Germany, Australia, et cetera. So what makes Riverain unique is first our ability to improve efficiency, reduce read time for radiologists. As lung cancer screening programs are formalized, naturally volumes are going to grow. More scans are going to be coming into the clinic. How are we going to be able to help reduce that burden on the radiologist? Number one is through our unique and patented vessel suppression technology. So we are able to concurrently with the native study remove all vessels and visual obstructions from the image to enhance conspicuity of the lung nodule. So first and foremost, we want you to be confident that nodules are not going overlooked, but also be more efficient as imaging volumes grow. To take that a step further, we will put all of the detected findings into an index series as well as a summary report. So what does that mean for lung cancer screening programs? Your nurse navigators are always going to have the volumetrics they need if they are following up with patients or using back-end software there. We're able to help reduce and remove inter-reader variability by being able to automate the findings. In the findings, we are able to automate the average diameter, the minimum, the max, the Z diameter depth, as well as volume. I know volume in Europe, for example, is important to the screening programs that are being formalized. So we do give all volumetrics, including prior nodule comparison. So based on the current, we are able to go back and look for a prior, provide the percent change in diameter, percentage change in volume, and that doubling time, put them side by side for a temporal comparison in your report as well. From there, we are also able to get that into a dictation system as well through dictation integration. So through custom fields, macros, we are able to get the results and the volumetrics into a report. Also through HL7, we can get the information into information systems as well. So again, removing or reducing inter-reader variability, but I think it's important to note that when we're able to get that into the report, you have nurse navigators. So this extends beyond just the radiology in terms of impact. Everybody touching a radiology or lung cancer screening program end to end, we want to have a comprehensive impact, and we're able to do that by getting everything into the report for long-term archiving. So again, thank you for the time. Please come see us at the Riverain booth. We'd love to show you a demo of the solution. Thank you, Blackford.
Awesome. Thank you so much. One other quick question for each of you, and then we can open it up to the audience. But can you talk a little bit about what you're excited about coming in 2025 for your solutions and your organizations?
All right, I go ahead and start. It's actually a great day for this question. Big announcement today. As of this morning, we were given FDA approval for our coronary artery calcification scoring. So on every ungated non-contrast chest CT, especially for customers that are already using clear read CT for incidental identification and opportunistic screening, we're going to be able to provide the total Agatston score, the risk category, the score for each individual artery, as well as the arterial age in the summary report with your nodule characteristics as well. So big day for Riverain, very exciting.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, well done. So with Avicenna, we have a great year already behind us, almost behind us, but a great year coming up. We are launching a couple of new algorithms to our platform and also available via our partners like Blackford. We are excited. We are still focusing on emergency and incidental findings. The portfolio is growing. We're becoming an AI factory instead, and bringing new algorithms in a fast mode to with high quality to the market. That's what we are focusing on for the US. We will be available also on European, of course. It means worldwide. Yeah. So.
Thank you.
I think for contextflow, so working with partners for our total lung cancer screening solution. So, for example, some of you might know Mint, working for guideline-based recommendations when it comes to reporting for lung cancer screening, but of course, continuing to roll out reimbursement throughout Europe, starting with Germany, also some Scandinavian countries, the Netherlands, et cetera. So we can, I think, look for additional adoption of AI based on the payer being able to pay for it.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Well, appreciate all of you contributing. And are there any questions in the audience?
Don't be shy. Don't be shy.
Well, if you're shy, oh, there we go.
Specificity on the cancer screening for particular cancers? Is there like a stratification within one exposure? Is there like different types of cancer, lung cancer?
Not at the moment. Is there different types of stratification of lung cancer when it comes? Yeah, so at the moment, and that kind of relates also to some ILD patterns where we're looking more on a pattern level. And a nodule is like another type of pattern based in the image, essentially. We don't yet have disease level search, but that's certainly on the roadmap. So that's definitely something that we're researching. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again. And if there are any other questions, they'll be here for a couple minutes to answer them.